Okay. Okay. Welcome to Missions Monday. This is, we're filming sometime after July 1st, July 4th. So this must be July 8th, I think, or July 9th, something like that.
Yeah.
We're filming. So, in relationship to the time of year, it's that way you know when it is. I can't call in today. We're filming this. It's not live, but we are filming. So, and I have a special guest here with me today. Her name is Debbie Pazda. Is that how we pronounce it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And she is the wife of Pastor Norm Pazda. And so I literally want you to enjoy this today. I call her the most interesting woman in the world. Okay. And you'll find out why. And just great stories, and her stories all have like a truth to share with them. So you're going to be intrigued, and we're going to go through a lot of different aspects of her life and her thinking, from the beginning of time to the end of time, basically. And so to the beginning of time to now, and we're going to enjoy it. I want to share one verse just with us, just to make us think. It's a little bit related to today, but maybe not, but maybe yes. John 5:30. I can, Christ is speaking, I can of my own self do nothing. What a great place to start. We start with our depravity. Christ starts with his inability. And so what did he do? He heard. He says, as I hear. In the action of hearing, he lived. He could do nothing. So what did he do? Start doing something? No, he heard. And then he said, and I judge. Oh, wow. You have wisdom to live because you hear. You can't do anything, but you hear. And now you have this incredible wisdom. I judge, and my judgment is just. Wow. He can't do anything, but he hears, and then he makes judgments. And then he says his judgment is just. Why? Why is his judgment just? This is incredible. And Debbie is going to bring this out today also. I know. One is she said it's not about herself, but that's what he says here, because I seek not my own. It's not tainted. It doesn't have leaven that has gone into his thinking, his judgments, because his own reasoning, his own desires are not mixed with it. And this is a thought process that we actually die to our own understanding. And that's what this is how Christ thought. We purge ourselves of our own desires, and we're able to discover God's mind. He says, I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father which has sent me. Like, what a way, like you could say, to have our mind purged and then to start over in thinking, in the big picture like that, then also in the small picture to have our mind renewed in Romans chapter 12. So I just wanted to share that today as we get started. So I'm here with Debbie Pazda, and I want her to tell us a little bit about her history in missions. Okay. I know her. She was one of the first missionary ladies from Greater Grace that I actually met, and I'll probably tell that story a little bit later. But go ahead, tell us about your history in missions, okay?
Yeah. So we were in Lenox, and the first mission trip we took was to China in 1983. China had just opened up in 1978, so by 83 it was still very it seemed like something out of the 1940s or 50s, the cars and the billboards and everything. And we went for 3 weeks. It was Mike Plunkett, I think he was 16, and his dad, and Laura Littlefield, and Mickey Constam were a few of the people that were on that team. And we traveled by train from Hong Kong all the way up to Beijing, and it was a very amazing time, adventurous time, because it was for me the first time outside of America, and I really thought I would never go back there, but Not that I didn't like it, I just didn't think I would go back there. But then in 1987, when the church was leaving Lenox, there was talk. I think there were other mission groups that started, but there was the thought that there was a group going to go to China, and God really spoke to me just to go. And I spent the summer. I spent the summer working. I told you, and just going to the bank and putting the money in the bank, and working and putting money in the bank, and going to church. And I stayed in Lenox there
Hmm.
and did that. And 10 of us went that fall to Shanghai. We were at the Shanghai Institute of Mechanical Engineering, and we were in the foreign guest house on the 5th floor. And there was no elevator, so it was a lot of walking. And we studied Chinese Monday through Friday from 8 to 12.
I got a question for you right there. Tell me about the atmosphere, okay, in Lenox with the group going, and like what was the thought process, or what did you perceive was the thought process at that time?
So it was shocking that that Lenox was ending and people had to go somewhere. And the choice was for the church to move to Baltimore. So it was just a door opening. Like, we had to do something, and this was a door opening, and it was exciting. It was very exciting. And I mentioned to you that we felt like such a team, and we felt like a real determination. I think it was the teaching and the era that we were in, and this is what you do. You just do missions. This is what you do.
Yeah.
It was really a focus.
Yeah, let's think about that. This is what you do. It was a team. It was an atmosphere in the church at the time. Um, the church was going places, and so that's what you did. Okay. Just maybe tell us about, you were in China, you got there. What was it like? Like, like being on a team there. Go through that. Curious chronologically, like kind of, and tell us.
Yeah, we had accommodations in this foreign guest house. The guys had one end of the floor, and the girls had another, and then there was an apartment in the middle. And they had, like I said, we went to classes every day, and they had food prepared for us.
At lunch, we went to classes from 8 to like 12,
8
right?
to 12, yeah.
And
We
then
had breakfast, lunch, and dinner made for us. It was just an adventure. It was such an adventurous place. And we were right next to an English class. I think you
Right.
remember that.
Yeah.
The English class was right next door. And I mean, all these kids were studying mechanical engineering, but for some reason there was an English class next to us. And we were always trying to meet people, make friends, and we had to be under the radar with what I think they knew that what we were doing, but
yeah, yeah,
they let us get away with.
yeah,
But we were careful.
yeah, yeah. Like certain things that I remember. Well, so I joined the second semester, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I met Debbie. She was there on the team already. And I remember the lunchtime we had together. It was all prepared for us. And then after lunch, this is what changed my life a lot, was we would listen to a tape.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And we would listen to a tape, and I saw people, you guys, that were applying the word of God in your life. And I never knew you were supposed to apply the word of God in your life. I thought it was just something, you heard the Bible, you went to church. I didn't know. And then this one girl on the team told me doctrine was thinking with God. And I was shocked. Remember Stephanie?
Mm-hmm.
And she told me, I was like, tell me more about that. And I'm like, that's when I started to like, I couldn't believe I saw these people actually getting to know the person of Jesus Christ, and then saying they can think with God. And here I thought I was going to be some great missionary over there. And I'm like, I had no idea what it was to have a relationship with God. And I saw these people having a relationship with God, and they loved me. I'll just they'll tell them one quick story, maybe, it's because, and then, I'm like, what do I even know about God? It's the way I started to feel of being around this team. And then Debbie asked me to lead a Bible study, in the classroom where we actually studied. And I'm like, okay. And she had it all prepared out, like the desk and the tables where we would sit, and she had the people invited, and we actually had a Bible study,
Mm.
in that classroom. And it's probably the first Bible study I ever did, like under Greater Grace.
Yeah,
And yeah, I remember that.
yeah. You and Pastor Steve DeVries were the two new people, and you were both amazing. And you
Yeah.
just, we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know you, and we just heard these guys were coming from Springfield and one of his friends, and you fit in so well. It was really
Yeah. Yeah, you guys
amazing.
welcomed us, and we were a part of that team. And so it was a time that God was doing a lot in my life. I was just observing you guys and your patience, your love, your joy, your thoughts with God. That was an amazing observation for me. So then, yeah, do you want to tell more about China?
Um,
You were learning the language, the class people. Some people learn Chinese quicker than other people, and
yeah, definitely. It's challenging. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, they're up there scribbling all this, and they
yeah,
don't speak English, and you have
yeah.
to.
And so, like, I think you expressed it before. You talked about, like, as a team, you were looking for people, right?
Yeah, that was our whole mission, was to go out at the playing sports after classes, after studying, the teachers, um, riding the buses, meeting people, and um, I saw it as nobody met just one particular person. We all met the people, and if somebody met somebody, they were all our friends, and we were praying for all the contacts we had, and looking for someone to respond to the gospel. We were in Westlake. We took a weekend to Westlake, and there was one person in particular with us who wasn't saved at the time, and he ended up having a church of over 300 years later in Japan, in northern China.
Northern China. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was like a team effort with all these people that we were meeting.
So think of that. That's a great aspect about a team life. I remember that. I wouldn't be able to define it as well as you, but it's like, and we would talk about people, say, like at lunch, or we would talk about people when we got together, like we were going after these people, and we talked about people that we're maybe closer friends with, and then we would tell our whole group about them. But yeah, I remember that. And we would throw the football around with them, and play badminton or tennis. I don't remember what it was, but we did all kinds of things. There's a kid named John Jung Ping that we got to know, and we went around the track with him. And I say we because everything was like corporate. It was a corporate, a team investment in people. And you say, well, what fruit came from that? Well, a pastor came out of that,
Mm.
discovering a pastor who wasn't saved. I mean, a person who wasn't saved, he becomes a pastor, and then he becomes a pastor of many people actually in China. And so, as a team, you could say, we could do nothing of ourselves, but that's what we accomplished there, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what you did with that era of your life, right?
Hmm. Right.
And then you moved back to America.
Yeah, a lot. Some people were there for a short time, and then some people stayed for many years. It's amazing. But God brought me back to Baltimore in around 89, 90. Yeah.
And then what happened? And
So,
wait. The reason we're doing this is this is a lady that has a heart for people. And missions doesn't stop, or missions can be anywhere. And we're not putting missions in a box. It was China. Now where is it? Now listen to this story.
yeah, so I think that, like I said, the teaching that we received and the time that we were in, and Pastor Stephen's vision to send out missionaries, and then living in another country gives you a capacity for another kind of people. So when I came back, shortly, about a year later, I started working at the Berlitz language school and teaching English. I had Turkish men, Turkish governors I was teaching for 2 years. But I also, God opened up the door for me to teach English to Japanese people in Mount Washington. There were large groups of Japanese doctors who were doing research at NIH, and they wanted English lessons. So I never really saw myself so much as an English teacher as just somebody to minister to them, because there's not so much you can learn in the English language an hour or 2 hours a week, except being patient and listening to them and giving them a chance to express themselves, which not everybody can do.
Right.
It's a lot of patience. But you sit there with them, and their wives are sometimes there, and they're touching Jesus, because if you go to Japan and you hand out tracts, I don't think anyone's going to care. But you're really one-on-one touching a Japanese doctor, a surgeon, or a cardiologist, you have to be very careful with them. You're not just going to blast them with the gospel, but through like holidays and different things come out, and you have a chance to explain the gospel to them, Easter, and they're seeing Jesus. And it was awesome. I taught over 100 Japanese
You
doctors.
did?
Yeah, and their wives, many times their wives. Yeah.
Wow.
Sweet people. Japanese people are special.
Yeah.
They're hard on themselves. They're perfectionists.
Yeah. Yeah. Just think of like what you said. They get to see Jesus in you.
Mm.
What a perspective of, when I went to the store today, when I see my wife, when I come to church, that people could see Jesus Christ in me. I mean, what a perspective to live like that and to never lose that perspective. And it could be unique even for a Christian to think that people are going to see Jesus in you. I said last night to our group when we went out for Summer Alive, I said, I'm sanctifying my life during the day for my ministry at night, because I'm accountable.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to bring a mess into my ministry. I'm thinking about my ministry at night, and I say I'm sanctifying my life. I'm having short accounts in my walk with God so that I can minister to people, and so I can have this confidence and boldness in God. So ministry, when it doesn't stop in our life, it also produces a sanctification. We realize there's a purpose in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And like, here you are, people are seeing Jesus in me. I have a purpose. I'm driving my car to go to Mount Washington, and there's a purpose of why I'm doing this, and I'm getting myself ready, not just physically, but also spiritually in whatever I do.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I felt like a missionary to Japan. I was immersed in the Japanese culture for many years, and I really had a love for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah. So you're being in China opened yourself up to the different cultures, right? And then you saw the Japanese people, and then what happened in your life after that?
They're still there,
Yeah.
by the way. There's not as many, but they're still there, and they're still available to have an English teacher.
Okay, there you go.
Anybody wanted to teach them.
If anybody wants to teach Japanese people English, there you go, and you can start a mission. Let's follow that up. Yeah.
It is. It's one-on-one with them, and so then because I was thinking about the missions in my life. Then my husband and I were doing outreach locally here, and we met some Nepalese people who were believers. They were refugees here. They came here as refugees. They were kind of kicked out of Bhutan and had to live in, they were Nepalese, but they were living in Bhutan and got kicked out and lived in refugee camps. So they started coming to church, and Pastor Jomi was translating for them, and then we started a little outreach there to have a Bible study with them, and we did that for about a year. But it gave us an interest in Nepal. So after that, my husband went to India and Nepal, and he's been to Nepal many times now since then. And that is like the thread that we talked about at convention, that one thing you do can lead to many other things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he just spent 2 months there in Pokhara.
Pokhara, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't realize what it's going to lead to. One acquaintance, one person. And yeah, it just, it blossoms into a ministry, you could say a mission in your life. So, and then you said you were going to Glendon, right?
Yes. So that was a very interesting thing that happened. Was my husband had come back from a trip, and he wanted to do something different on the outreach, his outreach. And Pastor Schaller had been to Rome, New York, and came back and said, I think he was thinking about his own life and how God had taken him out of a little sleepy little town. He said, why don't we go to some of these places out in the country in Maryland and start something? So we looked on the map, and we decided to go to Butler, Maryland. So we picked a Saturday, and we went to Butler. There's nothing in Butler.
Yeah.
Have you been? It's an equestrian store and a little country convenience store. So we there's no place to meet people there. So we went to the next town, Glendon, which is a historic little town, and we sat in the parking lot of Santoni's restaurant. And I remembered that I knew a lady from Brazil, and she had this big Victorian house right there on Butler Road in historic Glendon. So we knocked on her door, and she opened it, and she said, I have been thinking of you, Debbie. So we went in and we had tea, and by the time we left, she told Norm, you can have a Bible study here every Saturday. So that started our little Bible study and our outreach to Glendon. So we went there for many years, and we had lots of stories. We had lots of transient people. We had people come to our Bible study. We had people to come to outreach with us. Robert Siegel, different people. And it's a great thing to have even a small Bible study.
What did it do for your husband?
It trained him to study and prepare, even for one person, two persons, three persons, five persons. And sometimes we would study together. And then, of course, we did the outreach. And it's a focus. It's a focus outside yourself. You're going out somewhere and you're doing something.
Wow.
I don't know to this day who or what happened, and God kept us there for many years. But the one thing that happened was one year we went to Brazil with this lady, because she has a huge family in Belo. So we thought we were just going to go and be with her and her family.
Just remember, this is starting from a husband coming home and saying, hey, we listened to a message from Pastor Schaller. We need to start a ministry in one of these little bitty places where there's some people that might be interested in the gospel in these little bitty towns around Baltimore. That's how it started.
Yeah.
Then they go to this lady's house, they knock on the door, have a Bible study there, do outreach there for several years. And now they end up going to the lady's relatives in Brazil. Okay?
Yeah, she comes from a huge family of 14, and they're just endless relatives there now. So, but we didn't realize it, but we thought we should go see the church we have there. And we ended up spending more than half our time with our church in Belo, and the Pastor Geraldo Oliveira and his wife and his 3 sons. And they felt like Baltimore is visiting us, and it was so unplanned but so edifying for them. And we were very broken by their lives. They are very they told us at the dinner table that they focus on the things that are of value. They told us this word in Portuguese. But anyways, they are so committed to Friday and Saturday sketchboard and mime and outreach.
Right.
They are amazing.
Yeah. So you met them.
We met them and we spent time with them, and then they were in our hearts. We knew them.
Okay. So they went to this little town. They had a ministry there, and it ends up they end up meeting that lady at that historic house, and then they go to Brazil, and then they meet a church of ours in Bella, and now they have this family slash ministry slash church in their hearts because of this happened. They made a visit, like of a friend, and God did that, right?
Yeah. And 2 of their sons came here to Bible school.
Right.
Yeah, they're a wonderful family.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Now, I don't know where we're at because we've talked about this before, but you're here in Baltimore. Maybe I'll put this out there. Like, tell me about your church life here. You're a faithful person in the church. Your church life here in Baltimore. Your husband goes on, like you said, he goes to Nepal. He takes missions trips. He's planning on traveling with Pastor Shabeli. He's retired now, isn't he?
Yes.
From nursing. So tell me about your church life here in Baltimore.
Well, I'm just believe in being faithful to the church. The church, I think I mentioned to you, is bigger than me. It's not just about me. Our church is reaching and doing something and ministering, and why would I stop that and just come to the church? And I liked that the convention, Pastor Justin reminded us to the foundational things, the basic things, the fundamental things.
Yes.
Remember that? That was really good. And then the diagram of criticizing can be really big and loving can be small, but you have to switch it to loving can be big and the criticizing can be small. Because when you're around all the time, you can be familiar. So church life and being a homemaker is really important.
Yeah,
you
for
just
a husband.
Don't go off in your own direction.
Yeah, it's important. So you said you're not living for yourself.
Right.
The church is bigger than me. And if you see it bigger than you could say, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you want to stay. You want to be a part of it. There's something to be a part
of it. Yeah, definitely. Be a part of it.
Yeah, and you realize you're a part of it. You're not the frontline missionary in China, you know what I mean? But you're 2/3 back in the chapel, almost all the way to the back. Your husband has some nursing duties sometimes, excuse me, in the church. So yeah, your life is back there, and here you are still intimately involved in the church. And I don't want to put words in your mouth again, but you said, like, when you're thinking like people are going to see Christ in me, it establishes purpose just in that. So yeah, tell me any more about your church life now, or like you support missions now. And
now I have do more like a business thing, kind of supporting the church financially, supporting missions, just being faithful. We do outreach, or we go to a prayer meeting, or we just make friends with people in the church, and
you don't have pressure on yourself that you're guilty, you're not doing enough, or
no, I don't think you should do that, because it's
why? Yeah. Wait, okay, so you do creative things. We talked about that. You do creative things. Tell me about that. And you do something interesting, but you're still faithful. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, God can lead you to do things. I have an eBay business.
Mm-hmm.
I have a estate sale business, and just all kinds of things. And in that, we're both getting
Yeah.
hoarse here. In that, you're meeting people out there in the community. You're having you're building some relationships. I have been able to help women in the church start a business or work. Yeah,
Wow, neat.
yeah,
Yeah. And you're not ashamed of it, or like, you know what I mean? It's like you're creative. You're not putting God in a box.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. You're not saying like, I have to do this now, and that's the only thing that brings glory to God. But
We bought a chair. We went to buy a chair on Saturday, my husband and I. It was like we were buying a car. Got so involved. But the thing that what got so involved was the salesman. We were so involved in him, and he was so intrigued with us, and the conversation just went on and on and on.
wow,
God
neat,
just put him there for us to minister to him.
neat, neat. That reminds me. I was,
So wherever we are,
yeah. I was at a Starbucks the other day, early in the morning, like 6 in the morning. Sunday morning, this Sunday morning, I saw a guy reading his Bible. So I stopped and talked to him. He ended up being an actor at Walt Disney World.
oh really?
Okay, yeah.
Oh wow.
But I was in Illinois. He was visiting family. And so, we started talking about the gospel, and I used the word intercept. And he goes, "That's funny. You said intercept." He said, "I just wrote that word in my diary, intercept." He was writing a diary to his daughter.
Oh wow.
And he said that he was an Italian family living in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Talking about us buying a chair, and his dad was buying a car in Lancaster County. You know how many Christians there are in Lancaster County? The guy selling the car shared the gospel with his father. His father gets saved, an Italian family, and then the whole immediate family is saved.
Wow.
So, and he was telling his daughter, the whole family got intercepted by his father receiving Jesus Christ from that car that he was actually buying. And he said he couldn't believe it. This is years afterwards. This is maybe 35 years later, that the family is affected by being intercepted by that one sale of that car.
Yeah. Wow.
So it reminded me of that story that
Yeah.
he said.
It's in us. Evangelizing, sharing, loving people is in us from our teaching.
Yeah. Amen. What would you tell a young person about missions, about their life?
I think it's the best time to go. I mean, there's many people in our church who still go on missions, and they're all ages. But really, you don't forget what you did when you were younger, and it's you have quite a spirit of adventure, and you'll never forget it. Honestly, you'll never forget it. It'll be a highlight of your life to go.
Yes.
Definitely.
I mean, the time that I was in Shanghai, in one sense, it stands still. You never forget that memory, all the things that God did. These are little foundational stones, right? In our lives. And when you're younger, you do have the ability to adventure more freely, right? And do these things. And you said there was a spirit of, going as a team to China. You were drawn to that, the adventure of ministering as a team. You saw that, we were doing that as a team.
The value of the souls. We were just like mining for gold. We were looking for people.
Right.
That would respond.
Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah, we
Beautiful.
really were.
I didn't know it at the time. I was just, I was there. I was learning it. I was learning it and watching.
Very together.
Yeah. But I was like watching. I couldn't believe value of a soul. I mean, if you told me that back then, you know what I mean? I would have like crawled in my bed and like wondered, been wondering the whole day, like, the value of a soul, mining for a soul. And, I didn't know that's what they were doing, but I was learning and intrigued by the process of that when we were living in China. Yeah. What else would you like to tell us? Is there anything you want to tell us?
Mhm.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the most interesting woman in the world today.
I don't
She
think
has,
so.
she has, what I want to tell you is like her life is so stable and
Mm.
so constant, and her stories have purpose. And you just see contentment with God. You see a love for people, very hospitable, like a warm heart, and she's always been like that. And so, how many years ago were you in China? Just if we could,
It was 87 to 89.
87 to 89. So that would be 36 years ago. Like,
Mm.
36 years ago. And like it's like this with her life, but in her glory to God, and all of the decisions of making and thinking with God is incredible, and she has a wonderful life. It's not like missions has destroyed her life or has taken away from her life. It was simple in the beginning. It was showing Christ. It was learning about Christ. It was an adventure, but it didn't lose its perspective in adventure. It had perspective. And this is important for a missionary. Like, we don't lose our perspective in what we're doing, and it grounds us. It
Mhm.
grounds us, and it directs us. We're always learning who God is, and we're thinking with God and growing in who God is in our life. And that's what you've done. And here you are today.
Yeah, and we believe in giving to missions too because the money is important. And
Yeah,
it goes a long way.
yeah. Go tell her what your husband.
Oh, well, Norm was in Pokhara. His hotel, the Palace Hotel, was seven.
Ooh, the Palace Hotel.
It was $7.90 a night, and it included breakfast.
Wow.
So you can go there, and he's 10 minutes walk from the church. The Pokhara church lost their pastor three
Right.
and a half years ago, and there's these young men who were trained in Mumbai and Kathmandu, but they really loved having someone from Baltimore there.
Okay.
So it's another thing that some young person
Yeah.
could do.
Yeah. Can go to these
Go to
places.
Pokhara. It's affordable.
Yeah. Pokhara, teach English in Baltimore to Japanese people, right?
Yeah.
I do a Bible study in a small little town and with one or more people, and see what God does. And it's your heart in Bella with another team.
Yeah.
And you're just consistent here in the church, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Wow, this is an amazing way to live, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
It's satisfying here. Our friendship. It's my friendship with her is just. I'm so thankful that I met you. You know what I mean, and that we're just the same. We're the same. So, folks, I just want to thank you for listening today. And this is a true example of a life before God. Sometimes we talk about missions, and this is even for a pastor. This is who is in your church. These are treasures that are in our church. This is for somebody as an example, like, will missions ruin my life? Like, in the future, like, it's not the way to think. It's like God is faithful,
Oh,
and we
yeah.
take these adventures, and we don't have to worry about the future. We just see a faithful God. We're investing in the faithfulness of God in the beginning, and that's what we actually see. We're not investing in my adventure. We're investing in the faithfulness of God, and we see it throughout our life, and we're leaning on that, the rest of our lives, because we got to know Jesus Christ. So, and the other thing is, the last thing is the Azores, possibly in September. Her husband doesn't know about that, but we're planning a trip to the Azores in September. So let's think about that as the next mission trip you take, maybe. Okay. So thanks for listening, folks. Bye.
Whew,
That was great.
it
Huh?
was.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so easy. Yeah. It's so